Wouldn't you like to be able to create a presentation with just a few lines of natural language text? Well, you can do that. And you can also do so many other things. You can generate loads of different documents and you can help yourself inside of your work and in your personal life. But how do you do all of that? Well, with something called agent skills, of course. Josh, can you tell us what agent skills are?
Yeah, absolutely. So an agent skill is in effect just some text. It's a text file that's stored in what we call Markdown, which is a readable file that your agent can see, and then it's using that file as instructions. So you can add all of those things that you maybe have to or have been prompting and typing every time, or every time you use an agent, and putting that into a skill file in your Markdown file, so that when you prompt your agent to create a beautiful looking presentation, it goes and does it. It goes and looks at that skill file first, has all of the context straight away that it needs to go and build that file without having to type every single time.
So you can invoke them yourself. So you can put / whatever skill you want. And then the other way is that you can trigger them through just trigger phrases, basically, right? Like when you're talking to just a chatbot and it gets triggered with different things. You can trigger
Yeah.
it the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we dive in and have a look as to how we can create these skills and how they're structured in our project folder. I've opened up Visual Studio Code, and on the left, I've got my project directory, which is P2 Skills Video. I've installed the Claude PowerPoint skill, which you can see here under Agent Skills, PPTX. So I'm going to expand that, and the skill.md is the file that we want. And within this file, there's a lot to take in, but it's all in natural kind of language. We can actually preview this. If I right click on the skill.md, click open preview, you'll see now I've got a nice formatted document that we can actually see what's happening. And it's giving a whole bunch of things. We don't necessarily need to worry about what's in this skill. All we need to know is that it's going to build beautiful PowerPoint presentations based on the context that we give it. So we can create from scratch with some design ideas. Don't make them boring. Here's some color palette ideas, just general things to get you going really, really quickly. And you can imagine how long this would take if you were trying to type this prompt by prompt. Charles, any comments to add to this?
I think some people might be wondering, what's an MD file?
Yeah, good point. And MD stands for Markdown, which is just a text format. So you've probably seen like Word documents being doc files. It's kind of similar thing, except these are all just plain text files. The PowerPoint skill is a skill offered by Claude, so you can install it, and it's going to create a beautiful looking presentation for you, as we've just seen in the Markdown file. So let's give a prompt. So to create a beautiful looking presentation using the PPTX skill about AI agent skills. And then let's see what it does. So there we go. It's picked up that the skill is there, and now it's going to reference that file, and it's going to, behind the scenes, create the presentation for us. So no multiple back and forth prompts, instead just behind the scenes working away, doing what we ask it to do with a very simple prompt.
Now with skills, so this one, we're just telling it to do something and it goes off and does it. But we can also have skills that will come back to us and ask us questions, and we can have a back and forth with them if we want to, can't we?
Yeah, exactly. This is a really straightforward skill where we're basically telling it to do what we tell it to do. But in reality, you'll probably be doing a lot more backwards and forwards to try and tease out different kind of ideas and different kind of concepts that you're trying to figure out when working with AI, be it in development or otherwise. So yeah, there's different ways you can use these skills, particularly when you're working with different kind of technologies as well. Like we're working with presentations here, but if we're working more on coding, then there's definitely going to be a bit more of that kind of backwards and forwards, more kind of conversational type chatting with the AI before we get to the final product.
One of my favorite things when creating a skill is telling it not to assume. because, of course, the agent will just assume unless you tell it not to.
Yeah, absolutely. Just typing in, do not assume anything, question all of my choices. Yeah, it's a good way to make sure that it's not going off the rails and hallucinating and all those good things, which you've all maybe experienced by now. Okay, so yeah, it's been a few minutes now, and the Claude agent's actually come back saying that the request has failed, and it looks like it's maybe been trying to do some testing or just trying to fix some compatibility issues. But what we can actually see is it has generated the slide deck for us, and quite a good one as well, I would say. So everything's generated as per the skill, with very little effort. And yeah, it's a really good starting point. So, Charles, any comments on that kind of process and what it's generated?
Yeah, I think the output is really nice. And this is the very first output. And as we know, we can then reprompt it and tell it to use images and make it more beautiful. There's always a good phrase to use with agents, and it will then create an even better output. But for a first run through, this is actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, and you can see it's not just it's not just generated, output that doesn't make sense. It's given us a full slide deck around agent skills, what they are. Every slide is different and unique. Things like core skill categories, how they actually work, things that we've kind of talked about here on this episode. It's kind of given us a nice, pretty slide deck, which is really cool and nice to see. So, this is the power of skills. This would have taken a lot longer to create and generate if we were prompting this prompt by prompt. But with the skill, it's packaged all of those into kind of one with a nice best practice wrapper, some kind of things to check for, and it's generated the slide deck like we expected it to. And there is our output. To recap, Charles, what we've walked through, do you want to just tell our viewers what we've done and where we've got to with this?
Yeah, so we've used a skill that we had already installed, and skills are very easy to install. You can just run a piece of code in your terminal and that will install it. It'll walk you through the process. Where we're usually going for skills is skills.sh. So that's the actual domain name. And you can search within there, and there are hundreds of thousands of skills, I think, at this point. There are tons of them. And in addition to that, you can also create your own skills. So there is, in fact, a skill for creating skills. So we've got a bit of an inception thing going on there. And with that skill creator skill, it again will walk you through that process. So it will help you to build a skill that is a good skill. And you can even build in testing, so evals into your skill. So you can actually test the skill to make sure that it gives you the output that you're expecting. And skills aren't just things where we can run natural language, but you can also have things like a scripts directory. And in that, you can have scripts that get run. So maybe there's a skill that you want to have that will go off and run a piece of Python code every time something happens. You can do that within your skill. So the power behind these things is just incredible, and they're reusable. And as you're using them, you might find that you can improve them. So then you just improve your skill, and then you've got something that's even better for next time.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. So that's a basic summary of skills, what they are, how we can use them. Question for you: what are you building with skills? Have you started using them yet? Let us know in the comments below. And if you've got any questions on skills, again, do let us know and we'll see how we can help. But until next time, we'll see you later.